Slowly being cooked.
Slowly being cooked. So it's getting closer.
Yeah.
We have people everywhere. So today we're going to see the tour. Tour? Today we're going to see Tour de France.
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Like going Tour de France.
Tour de France. And this is my first time. But we have an expert here. I have actually a question. Because we're going to go see the stage, and it's finishing in Lausanne.
Yeah.
And the tour is of France.
Yeah.
But we're in Switzerland.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, good question. So, I mean, quite often the tour will visit different countries. For example, this year it started in Denmark and then made its way around France. I guess it's a way of attracting more people from different regions. It's sometimes nice for the organisers to come through Switzerland, cut off the corner, going through the Alps. Yeah, but I'm not complaining.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, Mike is a big fan of anything that has to do with bikes.
Racing bikes.
Racing bikes.
Anything, yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. What do you think we should expect from today?
Lots of people, lots of noise, lots of bikes.
And who's going to win?
Cycling's going to win.
Excellent. We found the course. And there are some people waiting there. Okay, what are we waiting for, Mike?
So first of all, we're in Lausanne for the Tour de France stage finish, waiting for the caravan, which will be a long convoy of cars throwing tat into the crowd, and I can't wait.
And you already got tatted.
I've already got some tat.
Can we do a lightning round on questions about Tour de France?
Oh yes, we can. What's the Tour de France?
A race around France.
How long is it?
How long is it? This year's race is 3,300 kilometers.
If it's a race around France, why are we in Switzerland?
Pass.
How many days do they race?
They race for 21 days.
How many people race?
About 170.
How many teams are there?
There's 20 or 21, I can't remember.
People per team?
8.
And how fast do they go?
Average speed of probably for the whole race will be about 42 kilometers an hour.
How many calories do they burn a day?
Per day, probably about 4,000, 3,000 or 4,000.
How many calories do they consume per day?
Probably about 5,000, 6,000.
What's the average weight, do you reckon, of a
Average
cyclist?
weight, that's a good question. Between 60 and 70 kilos maybe.
What's the average cost of a bike of a professional racer?
Probably between 10 and 15,000 euros.
How much do they earn?
Between 100,000 and a million probably euros per year.
And is it only men?
This race, yes, but there's a Women's Tour de France after this one.
Oh, so it's not happening at the same time?
Not at the same time, no. Actually, this is the first year that they've restarted the Women's Tour de France. There was a Women's Tour from like 1980 till the early 2000s, and then it got cancelled because it wasn't generating enough money. And then this year they're relaunching it, and it's going to be 9 stages long, following a different course to the men. Yeah, it's been very exciting because it'll be the first time this generation of women cyclists will have done a Tour de France.
Give us one interesting or unusual fact about Tour de France.
The last rider in the general classification is called the Lanterne Rouge because traditionally at the end of a train they have a red lantern to signify the end of the train. So the last rider is the Lanterne Rouge, and it's an unofficial competition to see who can win the Lanterne Rouge, being the last rider on GC. And a few years ago there was 2 riders who took it very seriously and were purposefully going slowly up climbs, like seeing who could go the slowest, so the other person had to go faster, and they both got fined for not sort of playing into the spirit of the Tour de France.
Well, thank you, that was a very interesting lightning round. We're still waiting for the caravan. Bring on the tat.
Bring on the tat.
Et suivre la caravane en direct. Allez! Bravo!
Is there something about making these as ridiculous as possible?
I guess you want the one that stands out the most, maybe?
So just a traffic jam at Tour de France.
Mike, if you go stand over there in the shade, your life
I'm
will
not moving.
So the caravan has gone past. We're waiting for the race now.
It's slowly being cooked.
It's slowly being cooked.
You're being slowly cooked, I'm being quickly cooked.
So it's getting closer.
Yeah.
We have people everywhere. There are people on the roof. There are people on the sides, on the other side, on the other side. We think it's over. The race is over. Maybe
all
there's
over.
still someone, but it's mostly over. Well,
Oh wait, there's stuff. There's stuff.
Yeah, this is the end of the race.
okay.
Still one person.
Alright, let's go!
It's all over.
Your emotions.
So emotional. I cried.
It was loud.
I laughed, I cried. I watched bikes.
It was quite emotional. I don't know. I think it's because you see them trying so hard,
Yeah.
and they probably exerted themselves to like 150%.
When you watch some of the most fit people in the world
Yeah.
exhausted,
Struggling, yeah.
it
know
tells
it's
you
hard.
something,
Yeah, it's
right?
hard.
It makes you
Yeah,
appreciate more.
And often they cause crashes. They get scared to frown.
Yeah.
Not even 5 minutes after the finish, we've got
We've been converted.
converted.
Swag.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're not given tat, you can get your own.
Get your own.
I mean, now you're gonna have to wear this all the time.
Mike's gonna use this tomorrow
Yeah.
With
My Tour de France bottle.
Tour de France bottle.
just hands.
Does it make you go faster?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just realized how many people are behind us.
I feel like we need to do that thing where people are like on Instagram. It's quite rare to do.
Woo!
Little kids like, what the fuck is going on?